to you by
Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for watching. Checking out our weather across the nation. Cold air diving south out of Canada will be the story this week. But this weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, and well, today we have winter weather concerns across much of the nation. Details on the timing, track, and how much snow is falling and how much is heading towards your area coming up right now. Now, let's get started with a look at that cold air making its way in out of parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan into North Dakota behind the winter storm system that dumped upwards of 1 foot of snow south of I-94. That system's now exiting through portions of Minnesota, Minneapolis included, and northern Wisconsin. We'll take you to that storm, another one going to impact the mid-Atlantic states in the next 24 hours. Here's a look at what's going on with regards to watches and warnings across our nation. Check this out. Now, as we take a peek, what you're going to notice is we have still some remnant winter storm warnings across that I-94 corridor in parts of southeast North Dakota and into Minnesota. The blue counties, by the way, winter weather advisories. So from Sioux Falls to Fargo, wintry conditions traveling there. Between Fargo and Minneapolis, we have wintry conditions exiting the Twin Cities, heading into northern Wisconsin, where winter storm warnings continue for the next 7 hours. We'll show you a front row seat of what's going on there. In the UP of Michigan, out with Sault Ste. Marie, snow is expected there. Winter weather advisories taking place there and in northern Michigan, north of Grand Rapids, north of Detroit. Now, another system, as this system works its way out, will bring a chance of some snow and wintry weather through Chicago, northern parts of Indiana, as well as the Ohio River Valley. But look at this, big time ice and snow potential as we work our way through parts of, Pennsylvania, not far from Pittsburgh. There's an ice storm warning for conditions expected to develop here as we go through the next 10 hours. And as we take a peek up north towards Scranton and on towards Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, winter storm warnings there for heavy snow followed up by some ice. We'll time it all out for you here in this update. Let's get right to the forecast as we focus on individual areas of the country. We'll start with this one here. North Dakota saw the snow as we went through last night into the very wee hours of the morning today. Let's take a look at what's going on. There we'll have wind and cold making its way in as the snow exits. So winter storm warning continues across portions of northern Wisconsin with the heaviest snow between now and about the midday hour. Then in the afternoon, it starts exiting from west to east and pushing into northern Michigan. So winter storm warning, heavy snow potential here in northern Wisconsin. We'll look at your amounts here momentarily. Meanwhile, as we back the clock up here just a little bit, you'll start to see the impacts affecting the state of Michigan all the way till 2 a.m. Then the storm moves all the way out into the northeastern United States. For Fort Wayne, Indiana, Chicago, we're going to have some freezing drizzle, freezing mist, freezing mizzle, rain down south in Cincinnati with already some flood warnings going on south of Charleston. It looks like more wet weather for that area as well. Now, the ice storm potential will begin as we go into the late afternoon hours on this Saturday and head into the nighttime hours, and it moves north. Look at the heavier bands of snow pushing their way into places like Bridgeport, Connecticut, all the way up into New York. Now, New York, you get snow to begin, and then that's followed up by some warming as this system works its way through. Some sleet, some grapple, snow pellets, those little pellets of snow, and some freezing rain making its way through. So a slippery concoction out west, but it will be mainly ice in parts of western PA. Look at Albany, upstate New York. The snow continues there, moving up towards Portland and Maine, all the way out onto the Atlantic, and not ending until we get into the midday hour on your Super Bowl Sunday for parts of the northeastern United States. Elsewhere across the nation, we're not looking at too much concerning other than very cold weather working its way through parts of the northern plains. The yellow you see in Montana is an extreme cold watch. Extreme cold air will be making its way in from much of the northern plains as we head into next week as well. So that's a look at that. Now let's take a look at some snowfall totals and look at what's going on right now. We'll take a look at the radar down here. Here's again a look at these temperatures with the really nasty cold working its way into the northern plains at this particular hour. Now, let me pull up the radar here real quick as we take a look at the nation. Snow reports all across North Dakota and Minnesota, with the latest on the snow making its way right now into northern parts of Wisconsin. So basically north of Milwaukee and Madison, we have that heavier band pushing through, and then a little bit of a lake effect type of snow taking place with this system, with some enhanced bands in northern portions of Michigan as well. So that's what's going on now. Things are all quiet on the East Coast with the exception of Virginia and West Virginia, all the way out toward Well, it looks like Delaware and Maryland, we have a chance for some areas to actually get some freezing concoction in the terrain as we work our way through with some cold air mixing in with that system. Heavy rain causing some flooding concerns with storm reports here of some flooding going on south of Charleston in the general vicinity of places like Fayetteville, Oak Hill, and looks like Beckley right there, seeing some flooding rains as well. So that's what's going on nationally right now. Now, how much snow can we talk about? Let's go ahead and take a look at a more national view of what we're expecting with regards to snowfall in the next 24 to 48 hours only. This is a high resolution model. Let's get right to it. Now, as we take a look at this model, I want to let you know that the farther out in time we get, the more changes that can happen to this forecast, simply because a lot of dynamics going on here with the storm making its way through parts of the northern plains and Great Lakes, mingling with this weather making low right down here that's causing the rain out to the east. So let's get to it as we take a peek at this, but we're focusing here on first snow and then ice. So let's go with the snowfall forecast with this system as we work our way through. Let me go ahead and do the total snowfall from the storm system, and we'll go ahead and peruse different areas. Now, as we go through tonight, Saturday night, and into the 10 o'clock hour, put this 10 o'clock Central Time, and that's about, well, see, midnight as we go into the Eastern time zone here. Northern Wisconsin up there near Green Bay will be hit with the greatest potential for some snowfall up there. As I scroll the mouse over, we're talking about 4 to 8 inches of snow in and around that area of northern Wisconsin. Now, as we go off into Michigan by tonight at midnight, tomorrow morning at midnight, about 2 to 4 inches of snow is expected. Look at western PA, not much because of the ice, right? But you get off to the eastern part of the state, we're talking about 1 to 5 inches of snow, according to this particular model. Elevated terrain and local enhancements can certainly impact some of these digits that we're seeing here. So that's a look at the snowfall potential with the system. Impacts to places like northernmost Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, all the way out into parts of northern Pennsylvania and southern New York. Now let's carry this out a little bit farther, because there the snow really starts to blossom into New England. Look at this. All over the state of New York, some potential for some very heavy snowfall, where you see the pink colors here. We could have some local areas with around a foot of snow in eastern New York, western parts of New York State getting 6 inches or so, a little bit more in places as well. This includes New York City, it includes Buffalo, it includes Syracuse, and it includes all the way out into parts of Vermont and New Hampshire, where the southern reaches of those states will have a little bit more potential for heavier snow than far north. That same thing goes up into the state of Maine. As you go on to the coastal areas, that's where the best chance of more accumulation will go. How about Jersey? It looks like a good 4 to 6 inches, maybe a little bit more in the northern reaches of New Jersey as we go through the day, and that's a look there. So that's a look at the snowfall potential. Now I'm going to switch this bad boy over to some icing, and here's a look at that. This is a look at accumulated ice as we go through. And let's see, freezing rain. So as we go through now, this, I'm going to time this out for you in your different locations. Here is Illinois, here is northern Indiana and northern Ohio River Valley, seeing some significant icing potential, where these purple colors would be indicative of more. This is by the time we get to the late night hours tonight and approach the 10 o'clock hour. Let me get it to 10 o'clock here. There we go. There's 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern as we go through. We're talking about accumulations of ice in northern Ohio that could be well over 1/10 of an inch in places with wind. So watch out. There will be some potential with icing this heavy, particularly in Pennsylvania, where we have the ice storm warning. Look at this. It's calling for the potential for over 1 inch of freezing rain. With wind included, power outages are a real concern. So watch out for that and pay attention to that. And I'll keep you updated right here on Hutch's Weather. But that's what's going on in Pennsylvania with ice through midnight tomorrow morning on Super Bowl Sunday. That storm continues to deliver ice, but notice it really does take its ice potential off into southern parts of Jersey, western New Jersey, and really it's going to be more of a snow impact through most of the state of New York and Massachusetts, as well as Delaware and Vermont. Looks like no ice for you in New Hampshire as well. More snow for you. That's a look at the weather across the nation. My name is Hutch Johnson. I'm a meteorologist in the Northern Plains, have been on air for the better part of 30 years forecasting weather. And as a meteorologist, I've done research meteorology and also taught in the college classroom for the better part of 17 years. If you like what you see here, I'd love to have you hit the subscribe button. That would really help my cause. But for now, I hope you have a safe day. Let's take a look at a couple of things that are interesting on what's going on now. Road conditions. the storm that's making its way through Minneapolis. Let's check in on Minneapolis real quick. Here is a look at Minnesota roads. So check this out. As we see winter weather concerns in the form of a winter storm warning here in central Minnesota, mainly north of the Twin Cities. But as we zoom in on the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul and check in on road conditions there, all of these asterisks are incidents or crashes taking place in the metro area. And there is completely covered roads. This is a look at the I-94 corridor through central Minneapolis. Now, as you go on the northern side of town here, we do have some concerns there as well. Whoops, it looks like that camera seems to be offline. Let me pick another one. And that's going to be the same thing. So we got some greasy roads across northern parts of the Twin Cities area. Heading up toward Duluth, the pink roads, by the way, are completely covered with snow via these reports here. And Mille Lacs area seeing completely covered roads there. But look at that. We got the plow out there getting things done. All right, let's check out what's going on into the state of Wisconsin because the storm is moving into northern Wisconsin right now. Let's check that on Hutch's weather and let's go. Here we are. I had to look for the Wisconsin logo. Here we are. Boom, there it is. Look at the pink, completely covered roads taking place there in parts of northern Wisconsin right now. Let's look up in that area of Weston and we'll take a look at the Wausau roads right now, and it looks mighty snowy there in Wausau. US 51 has some lanes that are completely covered with snow and ice, so you want to take your travel precautions there. Slow it down, give yourself extra time and extra distance to stop between vehicles. Now let's shift gears, right? Don't grind them. Let's go into Michigan. Now, northern Michigan has the greatest chance at seeing some impacts from the storm system as it works its way through. And the UP, let's check in on that, not far from Sault Ste. Marie. Let's go right there right now and see what's going on. Here it is, some greasy roads. This looks like a wetter snow, right? Because you see the slushy look to it there. Not as cold there in the UP of Michigan at this particular time, and those Great Lakes have a big impact on that. So we do have some impacts there. And northern Wisconsin will really be and northern Michigan will really see the impacts of these snow well into the late night hours. It's already looking pretty snowy there in northern parts of Michigan right now. Sneaking off, we don't have a lot going on as we take a look in the New England states at this particular time, so that's all going to take place as we head a little bit later. That is a look across the nation at what's going on. The cold taking hold in the north central plains. A storm system moving out of the Great Lakes and into the New England states promises to bring a wintry concoction of nonsense to your area. Stay tuned. Travel safe. If you must travel, make sure you have the survival kit in the northern plains. And, well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And who are you voting for in the Super Bowl? Drop in the comments below who you think is going to win. Put a score in there, too, just for fun. Have a great day.